Hello, welcome to the most important lesson you're going to learn on guitar. This lesson is going to be on the major scale. By the end of the lesson, you're going to know what a scale is, how to build a major scale, and how to play this. To be fair, you'll know how to play it from last lesson, but we're going to do extra fingers and a specific type of picking. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. So what is a scale? A scale is a sequence of notes arranged in a specific order of intervals from its root note to its octave. That is a lot to take in, so let's digest that. From last lesson, we know that a root note is just your starting point on the guitar. So the low E string 3rd fret could be my starting point. The 12th fret of the low E string could be my starting point. The 7th fret of the G string could be my starting point. Literally anywhere can be your starting point. That's what a root note is. Now your octave is just playing the same note higher up. So let's say we've got our E string and we're playing an E note. We know from last lesson that the 12th fret is the same as the open string. So if the open string is E and I go to the 12th fret, I'm playing E again. This will be called the higher octave. If my starting note is the A string and I'm playing an A note, and I go to the 12th fret of the A string, this will be the higher octave. I'm playing A but higher up, and it's the same for all the other strings. Now in the last lesson we learned two basic intervals. One was called a whole step, which was going up or down by 2 frets, and the other was called a half step, which was going up or down by 1 fret. Now a scale has a specific order of intervals. You can see this as a formula. Every scale and chord has a formula, and if you get good at memorizing them, then you're well on your way to becoming a good musician. So we'll make a major scale together, and our root note will be the low E string. So we're playing an E note. I'll put a diagram here for you to follow along. You can see that our root note has a red hollow circle. Oftentimes on diagrams, your root note will be depicted with a hollow circle or a coloured in circle, letting you know that it's the root note, the starting point. Now, the formula for a major scale is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Yeah? Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Yeah, just remember that one. So, if we're starting on the low E string, we'll play that, and then we'll do whole, so we go up 2 frets, now on the 2nd fret, whole again, 4th fret, then the next interval is a half step, so now on the 5th fret, then it's whole, whole, whole again, and then half step. Now we're on the 12th fret, this is a higher octave, and it's an E note again. That's why it's highlighted red on the diagram. We'll do it again. So low E string is our starting point. I go up 1 whole step. I know the intervallic formula is half step, whole step again. Sorry. And then it's a half step. And then it's a whole step. And then a whole step. Whole step. Half step. So you got da na 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 na. And we've just built an E major scale on the low E string just by knowing our intervallic formula. So that was called the E major scale because our root note was E, and after that we applied a major scale formula, which was whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Let's try the same thing, but let's make a G major scale. So we'll find G. If I know this is E, then the next note is F in the musical alphabet, then F sharp, and then G will be on the 3rd fret of the low E string. So from there, I'll apply the same formula of whole, whole, half, whole, whole, half. I'll put a diagram here for you to follow along. So we're on our G note, we'll play it, then it's whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And there you've got a G major scale. See if you can do it backwards and just get used to playing it along one string. Try to remember it all as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's it. This is going to be super useful in a second. But yeah, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you've got a major scale. Now, unless you like Indian vibes, you're not going to be playing a major scale on one string. That sounds kind of cool. Alright, good. We're going to find a more efficient way to play a major scale. So, what we're going to do is a little exercise where we find the 4th note on another string. We'll make our root note G on the 3rd fret of the low E string. And from there we'll find 4. So the formula is whole, whole, half. From here we do whole, so now we're on the 5th fret. And we whole again. 7th fret and then half. Now we're on the 8th fret. This is the 4th note in the major scale. What we want to do is find this note on the A string. So I could play this note as a reference point, and then I could play the 7th fret of the A string. These two notes do not sound the same. Maybe I could go lower. If I play this note on the 5th fret, does it sound like 4? No. Da, da. I want this note. If I play the 2nd fret of the A string, does this sound like 4? Da, da. Doesn't sound like 4. Sounds a bit lower. Let me go up by 1. If I played the 3rd fret of the A string, does this sound like 4? They both sound exactly the same. So now, if my starting point is the 3rd fret of the low E string, if that's my root note, I know the 4th note of the major scale will just be above the 1st note on the A string. So that is how I've found 4 on the A string. So instead of doing 1, 2, 3, 4, once I hit 3, I can go to the 3rd fret of the A string because I know that's 4. Cool. Now, I know 5 is a whole step away from 4, and 6 is a whole step away from 5. So if I know 4's over here now, I know 5 is a whole step away from 4, and 6 is a whole step away from 5. So now it should look something like this, right? There's only 2 more notes to find now, and that's 7 and 8. We know 7 will be 1 whole step away from 6, right? If we figured out that 6 is also on the 7th fret of the A string, then 1 whole step away from that, going upwards, will be 7. So now your diagram should look like this. Your goal is to find 7 on the D string. So an easy way you can do this is look for patterns. I know 7 is up 1 string and 1 fret away from 5. There's that little pattern. So if I find 5, which is on the 5th fret of the A string, and I reverse engineer it and go backwards 1 fret and down 1 string, I know 7's gonna be here. It's the same pattern. And if 7's here, I know 8 is a half step away from it, so 8 will be right next door. So now you've got something like this going. And I'll just minimize it so it's less confusing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The same scale you did in the last lesson, but now you understand how to build it and how the notes work together. The better you are at spotting patterns, the faster you'll be able to learn the whole fretboard. I've done another video on this, so you should be able to get it if you watch that video. I'll link it here in the description as well. But yeah, that's essentially how you build a major scale. And when we make it a bit more efficient to play, you've got this little shape here. This is called a 3-note per string shape, and it's more efficient than playing it across one string. You know how to play a major scale 3 notes per string now? What we're going to do is change the way we play it a bit so we can make it a bit faster and a bit more fun to play, I guess. So the first thing we'll adjust is the way we pick it. When beginners start guitar, they usually just use downstrokes, but there's different ways of picking stuff. The one we're going to do is called economy picking, and all that means is we're making our picking more economic, more efficient, more easier to pick. So on top of the tab, there's two symbols. There's one that looks like a pair of pants and one that looks like a V. The pair of pants means pick downwards, and the V shape means pick upwards. These symbols are on top of each number of this tab. So if it says the number 3 on the low E string, and then it's got the pair of pants symbol, this means pick downwards, right? If it says 5 on the low E string and it has the V symbol, this means pick upwards. So up being this way. Cool. Now underneath each number on the tab, I've just put an additional number underneath. So this represents your fingers. 1 being your first finger, 2 being your second, 3 being your third, and 4 being your fourth finger, your pinky. If you ever see a T, that means your thumb, but you won't see that anytime soon. So let's do it slowly together. The first note on the low E string is the 3rd fret. You've got a 1 underneath, which means use your first finger, and the symbol on top of it is a downstroke, so we'll pick downwards on that. The next note is 5th fret. It says use your second finger and do an upstroke. The next note is the 7th fret, low E string. Use your pinky and do a downstroke. The next note is the 3rd fret, A string. Use your first finger and do a downstroke. Then 5th fret, A string. Use your second finger and upstroke. 7th fret, A string. Use your pinky and downstroke. 4th fret, D string. Use your first finger and downstroke. And then 5th fret, D string. Use your second finger and downstroke. Do that slowly and try and get it as fast as you can. Get used to that motion of doing 2 downs when you're going to the next string. So down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. This will help you improve your speed and it will get you out of the habit of just doing downstrokes all the time. Because there's only so fast you can go. A downstroke is like trying to run on one leg. But when you have upstrokes as well, you can run with 2 legs, it's a lot faster. And it makes your life easier. So I'll leave this tab here, just practice, just pause the video and practice playing that, and I'll see you in the next video. Well done for making it this far. The next video will be a lot more interesting than this. We're gonna put it all together and start doing some cool stuff.